Hi, Sue Borison here. Today I'm with Laura Saldivar, Drive at Home Program Manager at National Safety Council. Thanks so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
We are going to talk about parents who are going to teach their kids how to drive. And that is a scary time when you kind of look around and go, where are the grown-ups? Because I don't know what I'm doing. So you're going to help us figure out how to overcome that insecurity. So what's the first step we should do to ensure that our new drivers are safe drivers?
Of course, we really realize this is a daunting time for parents, and we want to make sure that they're the most prepared that they can be to set their child up for success. So the first thing you can really do is just set an example from day one. You know, your child is learning from you. They're mirroring what you're doing. They're learning your habits. So the second their car seats turn around, please set a good example. The second thing is when they are ready to start driving, right before they're in that permit phase, you can really come up with a parent-teen driver contract together and really outline the responsibilities, the risks, and kind of the regulations of what's going to go on in your family and who's responsible for what.
And so that parent-teen contract, that can happen as early as like 6 months before they even get their permit?
Yeah, you can start talking about it. The earlier, the better. Really just making sure that everyone's on the same page. You can outline how often you're going to practice with your teen driver to hold yourself accountable, and also to start to make them aware of what your expectations are as well.
So I might not even know what I should include. Like if it's my oldest kid and I've never done this before, how would I know what to include? And is it different for every family, or are there some like must-haves in that contract?
Sure. So on driveithome.org, we do offer a free template for a parent. You can go in and download. It can be digital or it can be printed out. We really suggest putting it on your refrigerator or high visibility area in your home so that both you and your teen can see it. Items to include, definitely we suggest not having passengers. A lot of the restrictions are based on what we believe, such as like nighttime driving, limiting that. And also you can tailor it toward your own state. We know states have different laws for graduate driver's licensing. So you can really customize it and also learn from some of the things that we recommend as well.
And you're talking about night driving as a thing that you would not start out with, like saying to your kid, you got your license, go do whatever you want. Why night driving?
We really see that teens are disproportionately killed from midnight to 6 a.m. But it is good to give them practice in those earlier hours. But most graduate driver's licensing, they're not allowed to drive from like 11 to 5 a.m. It really varies on your state. But just being cognizant of that. Every state is different. And these rules aren't meant to be to punish them. It's meant to keep them safe and to gradually introduce them. It's a big thing learning how to drive.
Well, I really appreciate the way you said it, because if most accidents happen between 11 and what hour did you say? 11 and
midnight and 6 a.m. for teens.
12 and 6. So I want them not driving at night, not because I'm the boss of you, but because it's the most dangerous time. So I think like when we're armed with the information and we can arm our kids with the information, it's probably easier to get buy-in from them.
Yes. We have these sets of rules and you can go above and beyond them. You know your teen better than anyone, but yes, all of this is meant to keep them the safest they can be until they get more experience.
Should parents help their teenagers prepare for the test they take to get their permit?
Of course. And not only are you preparing them for the permit test, but you're preparing them to be a safe driver. You're helping to teach them the rules of the road and making sure that they are set up for success.
All right, so my kid takes the test, nails the test. They've now got this permit, which makes them feel very empowered. What are the first 3 things I should do as a parent?
Sure. So first and foremost, congratulate them. This is a giant milestone in their life. Maybe it's a time you want to revise if you have a parent-teen driver contract. Maybe there's some restrictions you want to add in, take away. The second is check in with them, see how they feel. Sometimes we've been out in the field, we've been talking. Sometimes there's lessons teens want to review, they want to go over, they need extra help on. And then probably the last one is start giving them more opportunities. Learning how to drive doesn't have to be an extra thing. It can be really integrated into your life. If you're running an errand, give your new permanent teen a chance to get behind the wheel. You as the co-pilot, use everyday interactions and experiences. And even when you're driving still, you can make everything a teachable moment.
My kids had this sense when they met the state mandated hours for practicing before they could, they had to sign an affidavit that they did all those hours. As soon as that was met, they felt like they were, and they got their license, they felt completely competent. Like, I am done. I am good at this. But I think a lot of people say that the mandated hours, the state mandated hours, might not actually be enough hours. So what does the National Safety Council say about this?
So there's not a magic number, but some states are 0, some states are 30. But what we recommend is going above and beyond your state's requirements. You know your teen better than anyone else. If there's things that they need practice with, please do that with them. And also we believe, practicing even beyond, they get their license, there's still things they're inexperienced with. Maybe that's like us, you're in the Midwest, still getting used to winter driving. Maybe they got their license in a different season, nighttime driving, they're still being used to that. A year after getting their license, maybe they have their first passenger, what that's like. So really, we just recommend going above and beyond. And if there's skills that they want to practice or that you think they need, doing that with them.
So let's go back to the driving contract. You call it a new driver deal, right?
Yep.
Should we be looking at that as a living document and letting our kids know the first time we talk about it, that this is not set in stone, we will be revisiting this?
Of course. So you can start it as early as before their permit, and then even keep revising it after they have their license. It's really just a living document. You can add restrictions if you think they need them. You can take them away, as soon as they get their license, however you feel. It's really between you and your family, and you can continue growing it and updating it.
Is there one non-negotiable that you would say has to be in the contract?
I would say limiting passengers. We're seeing a lot of parents that are, my daughter or son now has a license, let's pile in the siblings. And siblings are still a major distraction. They're not immune to that. So just being cognizant of that.
And again, is there a time frame that you would put to that?
I would maybe just their first year not have any passengers, just so they can get used to it, feel comfortable in the car, know what they're doing, get more experience. Experience is key. And then slowly start introducing them to that. For each additional passenger, it's added risk factor for crashing. Not even music playing, but I'm thinking like, chattering in the background and having conversations. It's all really a big distraction, especially to your new driver that's not used to having all of that going around on them.
Even when I was the co-pilot, even though I didn't call myself that, when I was the co-pilot, I felt like my kids sometimes would be more anxious the more I was anxious. So like if I was like, watch out for the stop sign, or the red light or something, I was kind of creating more anxiety and making them a little worse. How do you beat that?
I think of course it's practice, like they'll get better and you'll get more confident too, but that's actually one of the points in our new driver deal as a parent, that you'll attempt to remain patient and calm. It's really important for them, especially they're learning, it's so new to them. And like we said earlier, maybe taking them to other areas first, building up their experience, they're more competent for later on. So maybe you can help mitigate some of those stressors. But yes, it is a big deal.
So that doesn't help them.
No, not at all.
Okay. What are your most important pointers for parents?
Sure. So we have actually a full suite of lessons for parents. So we have a bucket of lessons for, things to work on before your teen even gets their permit. This goes over, what vehicle are they driving? How does that vehicle function? A lot of times we hear that teens don't know how their windshield wipers work. Then when they're in the car by themselves, they panic. Our second set of lessons is for when they're starting to learn how to drive, that permit phase where you're the co-pilot. That's things where you can go over basic road skills, such as coming up to an intersection, how to handle pedestrians, And then our third bucket is really just giving them more and more experience behind the wheels. So they all kind of build off one another, and they're all free on our website. And if you're just hearing about this now, you don't have to start at the beginning, you can jump right in. But we developed them with experts, and I think they're really helpful, and hope they can be good use to you as well. It's really a giant milestone for both of you, and we hope we can make it easier at Drive It Home.
Yeah, it's rich with information. I really encourage parents to go there. Such a great resource.
Thank you.
Laura Saldivar, thank you so much for being here with us. You had great advice to share.
Thank you so much.